The Hinagami residence on the edge of Kamihina, Satsuki stood paralyzed in front of the house she was visiting for the first time. It was much larger and more old-fashioned than she'd imagined. She had of course heard of it before. The Hinagami family controlled the settlement of Hideout. They were also called as founders since they had settled there with the Shigusa family in the Warring States period. Is something wrong? Kensei turned around in front of her. No, I was just surprised, since it's much grander than I had imagined. She spoke honestly. The Hinagami family has brought the village prosperity for a long time now. I am aware. Well, we can't keep them waiting. Let's go inside. Yes. Satsuki was led to a room and sat alone, waiting for the family head to come. Kensei wasn't there. He'd probably gone to arrange something. The sliding door in the back opened and Satsuki straightened her posture. Sorry to have kept you waiting. A stately voice. Satsuki didn't respond. She fell prostrate to the sound of the feet on the tatami, and she waited. Clothes rustled, and she could tell that he'd sat down on a cushion. Raise your head. Satsuki slowly sat up after being spoken to. She saw an old man, deep wrinkles carved into his sullen face. I am staying at the Shigusa shrine as a guest. My name is Satsuki. She bowed her head again. I am the head of the Hinagami family, Hinagami Hideomi. I am aware. The old man, Hideomi, snorted. Was that rude? Was it a mistake to reply that way? She was tremendously uneasy in front of this old man. He was dignified. No, there was something more behind his intimidating air. Please enjoy your stay. Yes, thank you. The festival is about 3 months from now. Until then. Yes, of course. Hideomi stood. She lowered her head again and waited, frozen, until he left. The sliding door behind her closed, and Satsuki was finally able to breathe a long sigh. That was all she had to do, but she still felt fatigue eating into her whole body. She wished someone else could have taken her place, but that wasn't possible. Going to greet the head of the Hinagami family was an important task Satsuki had to complete. The sliding door opened again, and Satsuki straightened her back once more. Satsuki-san, it's me. She saw Kensei and relaxed. You don't have to be so nervous. Hideomi-san is a kind man. Doesn't really come off that way, though. But... She looked up reproachfully at Kensei's smiling face. Can you stand? Yes. Satsuki took Kensei's hand, stood, and straightened her skirt. Well, let's head back. Or did you want to wait until Ayato-kun gets home? That won't be necessary. Satsuki shook her head. She wouldn't know what to say to him, so she felt there was no need to see him again. Then, let's go. Yes. Satsuki followed Kensei out of the Hinagami mansion. The Futami Inn on the east side of Maihina. Naori and his friends were gathered in front of the inn. Nao-chan, Rihito, hold this. You brought a flat futon out of the shed. I don't think we need to know what a futon is. Japanese people traditionally sleep on the floor in a futon, of course. Can we take this? We fixed it so many times that it's beyond saving now. Then can you carry it, Rihito? Sure. Ayato rolled up the old futon and held it on his shoulder. I brought a teapot and some cups from my house, but do we have a kettle? Just the teapot would be inefficient. I have one. You emerged from the shed with a stained brass kettle in hand. What else do we need? It's a cabin for making charcoal. There's stuff to burn, and I've got matches, so I think that's it. Let's go then. Hidari-hina, right? They all headed off, carrying their things. Yuka-san packed us some mochi. Karen happily showed the group a cloth-wrapped package. Yuka was a maid who worked for the Hinagami family. Do we have a griddle? Yeah, but it's only got one hibachi, so we can't boil water at the same time. Oh, what are we going to do about water? There's a little stream behind the cabin, so we'll be fine. If we boil it, we can drink it. Oh? You raised her head and looked in the direction of the stone steps to the shrine. Who's that girl? Oh! A girl was peering over at them curiously. Hey, Rihito! What? Naori took the futon from Ayato after he approached. Go invite her too. Huh? Ayato looked in the direction Naori was pointing and noticed the girl, Satsuki. You sure? This is a good opportunity to introduce her to everyone, right? I guess so. Aito ran over to the stone steps. Who's that? Karen asked suspiciously. A guest of the Shigusa Shrine, or so I've heard. Oh, I heard something about her coming to our house to greet us. But why is Nisama... Dunno. Naori gave a non-committal response. Won't we get in trouble for telling a guest about weird stuff? What do you mean, weird stuff? Like inviting her to a secret hideout. We'll get in trouble for making the thing in the first place anyway. We can't just tell them we're digging an air raid shelter. Not that anybody would bomb these mountains anyway. We'll be digging? Of course not. Aito returned with Satsuki. Hey, it's been a while. Oh, hello. Satsuki bowed her head. I'm staying at the Shigusa Shrine. My name is Satsuki. It's very nice to meet all of you. You don't have to be so polite. Naori looked like he was trying not to burst out laughing. My name is Futami Yu, of the Futami Inn in Maihina. Do you know it? Oh, no, I don't really know much about the village yet. I'm sorry. I'm Takayama Meguri. Nice to meet you. That's a nice kimono you've got there. Oh, this? Someone at the Shigusa Shrine made it for me. Then we'd better make sure it doesn't get dirty. Now, Chan, is your hideout clean? Don't worry, I swept up all the dust. It's probably fine then. Now Chan likes to keep things clean after all. Thank you. Satsuki bowed her head. My name is Hitagami Karen. I'm Aito's twin sister. Why does she always look pissed off? Like she always has like, it looks like she has like a scowl on her face. Like she doesn't. Why are you taking attention? Why are you taking my brother away from me? I think is what she's upset about. Karen greeted her a little sullenly. His sister? It's nice to meet you. Quite. Yeah, I don't get that impression. Karen averted her gaze and walked off. Oh, Hina. Meguri followed her. Did I do something? Satsuki looked uneasily at Aito. Who knows? She just has a short fuse. I see. Aito and Satsuki walked together. Rihito's quite the dullard, huh? Yu's tone was exasperated. Well, it's kind of a pain if your sister likes you too much, right? You may be right. These two brought up the rear of the group, the futon draped over Naori's shoulder. Do those two know where your hideout is? At those words, Naori hurriedly made his way up to Karen and Meguri in the front. They climbed up a narrow path covered in trampled snow behind Hidari Hina. Make sure you hold Sachin's hand, Rihito. Naori turned around from the front of the pack and gave Aito instructions. I know. Aito replied brusquely. Karen puffed up her cheeks. Satsuki anxiously observed her surroundings. Well, this is it. A small shed stood in a small clearing about halfway up the slope. Snow covered a pile of firewood. This is a pretty nice hideout for, you know, when somebody says hideout, I expect like something like a tree house or, I don't know, like something made out of like sticks or something like that, not really like a cabin. Yeesh, that looks cold. Meguri grimaced at the side of the rundown shack. Or I guess a shack. Don't worry, the gaps near the floor are packed with snow, and it's better constructed than it looks. Whatever, let's just get inside and start a fire already. It's cold. You rushed them. Yeah, Rihito, can you hold the futon? Got it. Naori handed the futon to Aito and slid open the wooden door. Wow, Aito said after following Naori inside. It's actually pretty big, huh? Dried firewood was stacked on the dirt floor. There better not be any bugs. It's winter, so there won't be any, probably. Meguri and Karen placed their things on the tatami and opened the windows. Don't just stand there, get over here. Sachin, right? Oh, yes, thank you. Satsuki sat on the tatami. Rihito, can you fetch me that box of charcoal? This? Aito grabbed the box by its handles and brought it over. Naori used tongs to throw a few pieces of charcoal into the hibachi and stuck some old newspapers between them before striking a match. If the charcoal's wet, it might pop, so be careful. I know that. We use these at home, you know. I explained because there's a chance that not everyone here knows that. Huh? Maybe he's talking about Satsuki. You turned around. Aito and Karen were looking on in admiration. Wow, now Chan, you're incredible.
Yuka-san does almost everything for us at home, so...
Oh, they're talking about them. They're talking about Hayato. Hayato and, Karen. She's younger than you, right?
Big surprise. Rihito and Ohina are pampered after all,
Meguri said, bemused.
Sachin seems like she wouldn't know either.
Oh yeah, I didn't think she would.
Huh? Me? I light charcoal fires all the time, though.
Oh, okay, so she does. Satsuki responded, puzzled.
My room gets cold in the winter, and there's no one else there, so...
I see. Oh, okay, it should get a little warmer now. The charcoal in the hibachi started to turn red.
Can we grill the mochi? It's too soon for that.
Meguri stopped Karen, who had started to get the mochi and griddle ready.
Should we go fetch some water?
Sure, take the kettle. There's a stream behind the cabin.
Got it. Don't fall in.
I'll be fine.
Oh, I'll go too, Nisama.
Karen followed Ayato out of the cabin. Yeah, Karen's a little bit too obsessed with her brother, I think.
Hey, Sachin.
Meguri addressed Satsuki.
Oh, yes, what is it? Where are you from, Sachin? I bet you're from Tokyo. Oh, no,
It was clear that Meguri was interested, but Satsuki lowered her head, looking troubled.
I actually don't know where I'm from.
It's gonna be like Toko all over again. It's like, I don't know where I come from. Can you help me find my true self?
Then Osaka? Kobe seems like a nice fashionable place too, so I've always wanted to go there.
Guriko, you're bothering Sachin. You stopped Meguri, unable to watch any longer.
Huh? Oh, sorry, should I not have asked? No, that's not it.
So Satsuki said, but her words stopped there. Naori got an idea to break the awkward silence that had descended. Sachin, you want some? He took a box out of his pocket and handed it to Satsuki.
Oh? Caramels? Oh, those!
Meguri shouted when she saw them. What's the matter, Guriko? I just gave her some caramel.
Would you like some too, Guriko-san?
Satsuki handed the small box of caramels to Meguri.
Why don't you run? 300 meters. No. Huh? Huh?
Satsuki looked back and forth between the two of them, unable to grasp the situation. Yeah, I'm kind of confused too.
It's written on the box, right? 300 meters in a single piece. Oh, right. Then, is this person Guriko-san?
Satsuki pointed at the running man on the box.
No, geez, Nao-chan's nicknames are the worst.
I don't think they are. I don't really get it, so like if you eat one, do you have to run 300 meters? Is that it?
Why couldn't it have been Meg or something? Call me that from now on.
Well, that sounds too American.
Got it, Guriko. You don't got it at all.
The door opened and Ayato and Karen returned. We're back. Welcome back. You didn't fall in, right? How could I fall into that tiny stream? Ayato poured the water he'd gathered in the kettle into the teapot.
Thanks.
You placed the teapot on the tripod on top of the hibachi.
Who was living in this cabin?
Karen asked, sitting on a cushion. It's just used as a resting place for a charcoal maker, so no one's living here. Nobody uses it in the winter, so I'm borrowing it a bit.
You haven't gotten permission from anyone?
You sighed, exasperated.
So that's why you didn't want to talk about it at the police station, huh? So no using it for dangerous stuff, okay? We know.
Satsuki raised her hand timidly.
What is it, Sachin? What exactly is dangerous stuff?
Well, I wonder. At a loss for an answer, Naori glanced at the rest of the group. Using fire, maybe?
We're using it right now.
Meguri responded immediately.
How about scheming to overthrow the government?
That's too dangerous. At the very least, that was something that shouldn't be said in public in those times.
Secret trysts?
The temperature dropped at Karen's words. Ayato gave Karen's head a light bonk. Go to horny jail.
Ow! Oh, come on, I just wanted to try saying it. Oh, it looks like the water's boiled, young mistress.
Why are they all embarrassed?
Right.
She poured the water from the steaming teapot to the teacups and filled them with tea.
Here you go.
She placed the first cup in front of Satsuki.
Huh? Me? You're our guest too, Sajin. Thank you. I'll gladly accept.
Satsuki brought the teacup to her lips.
Phew, it's delicious.
Good. You smiled. She boiled the water a few more times until everyone had had some tea and placed the griddle on the tripod above the hibachi.
It's finally time for the mochi.
You hungry?
That's not it.
Karen puffed up her cheeks again.
Ohina's been burning her buns for a while now. Huh? No, I haven't.
We've only got one hibachi. The two uncomprehending ones tilted their heads.
Can you burn something without using fire?
There's another one who doesn't understand. It looks like that just flew over almost everyone's head.
What?
The actual mochi swelled up on the griddle. Happy fun times. Happy fun times with everyone.
Ohina, did you bring soy sauce? Yes, of course.
Karen took some dishes and soy sauce out of the package she had brought.
These ones are grilled, so you can eat them.
You can have the first ones, Karen. You've been waiting, right?
Oh, come on, Nisama.
Karen complained, but she poured soy sauce on the mochi and started eating nonetheless. Why did she even act annoyed when when you know, nothing bad has happened to her? It's like he's giving you first dibs and you're like, why do you have to do that, brother? You have some too, Sachin. Aito took one of the plates and left it in front of Satsuki.
Ah, thank you.
Satsuki started eating her mochi.
It's good.
I'm glad. They grilled enough mochi for everyone, and they all filled their stomachs.
Phew.
Meguri flopped down onto the futon folded up behind her.
If you lie down right after eating, you'll become a cow. Are you my mom, young mistress?
Megumi grumbled, lying on the futon.
I'm not that bad, am I?
Meguri was the only one in the group who hadn't lost her mother when she was young. Oh. That's just all kinds of fucked up, so like everybody else had? It's like, yeah, my mom died too. Of course, it wasn't like they could ask Satsuki about something like that. Naori wasn't even sure what a mother was, though there were people taking care of him in his mother's place.
Say, Sachin.
Karen addressed Satsuki.
Yes, what is it? You came out to greet my grandfather a little while ago, right? Yes, I did. Were you scared of him? Oh, I thought he was an imposing person.
Satsuki's answer was roundabout, as if she had chosen her words carefully.
Nisama is always getting scolded. He told us he doesn't have enough awareness as the next head of the Hinagami family.
That's not true, is it? This time it was Aito who puffed up his cheeks.
But you're not doing any studying to succeed Hinagami pharmaceuticals or anything, are you, Nisama?
It's not like I want to succeed it. Well, you can think about that a little later, right? Naori threw Aito a line before he started sulking for real. You're studying to succeed the clinic, right, Naochan? That's because I'm older than you.
If you were really studying, he wouldn't be goofing off like this.
You muttered. Does it matter? You should have fun while you're young, right?
I suppose so. I'm letting my hair down too, after all. Come to think of it, won't you get scolded by the old mistress if you don't get home soon, young mistress?
The winter sun set early.
There aren't any customers at this time, so it should be fine. But I don't want her getting mad at me, so maybe I should get going.
Maybe we all should. Naori stood and threw ashes on the charcoal and the hibachi. We can leave the futon here, right?
Yeah, that should be fine. What about these dishes? I'll bring them back, otherwise Yuka-san will scold me.
Karen gathered up the dishes and wrapped them in cloth. I'll carry them, Karen.
You don't need to. You should just make sure Sachin doesn't trip, Nisama.
Oh, now she's okay with, Aito paying attention to Satsuki. I guess you're right. Aito headed right over to Satsuki.
Jeez!
What? Well, now she's not okay with... What the fuck? Stop being bipolar. I think Karen's just a tsundere. That's her problem. Karen puffed up her cheeks and almost stomped the ground in anger. Meguri watched her from behind, desperately holding in her laughter. I mean, you gave him the okay. They reached the crossroads in Kamihina.
Everyone.
Satsuki addressed everyone formally before the stone steps leading to the Shigusa shrine.
Thank you very much for today. I had a lot of fun.
She bowed her head deeply.
You'll be here for a while still, right? We can hang out again whenever. Yeah, we've got a nice place to meet now, too. Yes.
Satsuki smiled.
Well then, everyone. Goodbye.
Satsuki bowed her head again and started up the stone steps.
You're not gonna walk her back, Rihito?
Naori asked Ayato, then shrugged. Karen was firmly grasping his sleeve.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. Why is she jealous? This is so fucking weird. Why does it always gotta be weird with siblings? I mean, we're gonna get more of that, by the way. This is not the end of the weirdness in regards to that. The night of New Year's Eve.
Phew.
Karen finished cleaning her room and removed the kerchief covering her head and the apron over her clothes. Wait, why is cleaning something? New Year's cleaning, the Japanese equivalent of spring cleaning, happens around New Year's. I actually didn't know that. Okay. Normally, she never did this sort of dusting and sweeping. She had even cleaned the stains on the carpet with a wet cloth. She'd been cleaning since morning, so she was exhausted by this time.
Have you finished, young miss?
Kyonomura Yuka, a maid, came down the hallway and peeked into Karen's room.
Yuka-san, could you take out my trash? I can't, young miss. You promised the Grand Mistress you would finish cleaning everything yourself, didn't you? Oh, come on, you can do this one thing, can't you? You just don't want to go all the way outside to take it out, do you? Right. I suppose I must then.
Yuka picked up the trash can.
I'll keep it a secret from the Grand Mistress, and you can clean and wring out this cloth, okay, young miss?
There was a bucket and a stained cloth out in the hallway. Having no choice, she picked up the cloth and dropped it into the bucket. The ice-cold water in the dead of winter made her fingertips numb.
Why on earth do we have to do this cleaning when it's so cold?
She whined to no one in particular. And if we did it in the summer, you'd complain that it's too hot, wouldn't you?
Nisama?
Ayato walked by with an exasperated remark, and Karen raised her voice to try to hide her embarrassment.
Are you done with your cleaning, Nisama?
My room's done. Dad's coming home too, so you should hurry up and finish, Ayato said nonchalantly.
Come to think of it, when was Father supposed to get home?
By evening, supposedly. I guess he's still not back, though.
The road from Toyama is pretty narrow and rugged after all.
He's used to it, so I don't think we need to worry. Ayato patted Karen's head to ease her worry.
I suppose you're right.
The small gesture was enough to make Karen calm down. In a way, she was pretty simple-minded.
Young miss, your trash can. Thank you, Yuka-san.
When Yuka returned, Karen took the trash can from her. What, you got Yuka-san to help you?
She just threw out my trash, that's all.
Then I should have asked her too.
That won't do, Ayato-sama. You should take care of these things yourself.
Yuka really was dependable. It was hard to believe she was younger than Ayato and Karen. Her family had been working as live-in help since her mother's generation. She protected the Hinagami family while Karen and Ayato had been off fooling around. That was why the two of them couldn't see her as their equal. It was also why they called her Yuka-san despite the fact that she was their maid, and younger than them.
Well, I should go tidy up elsewhere, so I'll be going.
Yuka bowed and walked off down the hallway. I guess I'll clean another room too.
Oh, let me help.
Ayato and Karen's father, Shizuru, returned just as the sun set. They were disappointed that he didn't bring them souvenirs. Apparently the phrase "extravagance is the enemy" was being shouted all over Tokyo while he was there. Extravagance is the enemy? One of the slogans of the National Spiritual Mobilization Movement, an organization that rallied the nation against China during the war. And I guess this really shows how much I know about history. Karen had been looking forward to reading a fashion magazine from Tokyo with Meguri. Karen thought about such things as she sat in front of the sunken hearth. They'd already eaten dinner. The reason they were sitting there was simply because their grandfather Hideomi had not granted them permission to leave yet. Ayato sat stiffly beside Karen. Shizuru, Hideomi spoke. Yes. Shizuru looked toward Hideomi. How was Tokyo? Difficult to say. The military police presence has increased since the Imperial Aid Association was established, and a lot of things can't be sold anymore. How was work? Much the same. I hear the government might start regulating drug manufacturing soon. So a big war is coming. It appears that way. The adults discussed complicated matters. The Hinagami family had always manufactured medicine for its livelihood. Their offices and research labs had moved to Toyama in Tokyo, but there were still many people in the area who had ties to the pharmaceutical industry. It was practically Hidegata's only outside source of income. For that reason, the Hinagami family held tremendous sway not only in Hidegata, but also in the surrounding area. Even though Karen was one of them, she still didn't really understand this. Karen? She heard her grandmother Mariko calling her from the kitchen.
What is it, grandmother?
Relieved to have an excuse, Karen stood and headed into the kitchen. Yuka was filling out osechi boxes lined up on a table in the spacious room. Osechi. Osechi are traditional Japanese New Year foods. Okay.
Help Yuka out, would you? Of course.
She stood next to Yuka and started moving the food from a large plate into the boxes.
Put the yellowtail teriyaki here. Right.
She placed the food in the section she was instructed to.
The color scheme is important too, so the sweet potatoes and chestnuts go over here. Do I have to put the boiled carrots in too?
Karen grimaced.
Of course, the Grand Mistress made them herself, you know. She definitely made them because she knows I don't like them.
She complained after making sure Mariko wasn't in the room.
Boiled food always goes no seichi.
Yuka lined up some omelets, laughing.
There is shiitake in here too. I think you should try to be a little less picky, young miss. But...
She grumbled, pouting.
You like kamaboko, right?
Kamaboko. Chopped loaves of pureed fish combined with additives like MSG. Okay.
Yeah, I do. Here you go.
Yuka offered Karen the kamaboko and her chopsticks.
Can I? I couldn't fit it in the box. Thanks.
She put the red-bordered kamaboko in her mouth.
Eat it before the Grand Mistress comes back, okay? I know.
She continued her work, enjoying the soft texture of the kamaboko.
What's this?
She asked, pointing to something that looked like connected red orbs.
It's called chorogi.
Tubers of the Stachy's Finnish plant, dried red and pickle. Okay. Why is this turning into Fate Stay Kitchen? And this is the ingredients we use to marinate the meat.
It looks like caterpillars. I think it's the root of a plant. Would you like to try one? I'll pass.
After she compared them to caterpillars, she couldn't see them as anything else. Karen, could you bring out the soba? Yeah, I think those are noodles.
Oh, yes, of course.
Karen brought the soba, divided into portions on a tray, out into the living room.
Thank you for waiting, grandfather.
She laid out the soba in order, beginning with her grandfather. Yuka followed her with the sauce and green onion. She laid some soba out in front of Aito. Her brother was stiff and silent.
Nisama?
My legs fell asleep, Aito uttered in a low voice. Maybe it was also because he had been listening to his father and grandfather this whole time.
Can I touch them?
That's just creepy. Don't even think about it. Aito paled and shook his head at Karen's teasing.
I'm joking.
Are you sure though? Are you really? Karen finished laying out the soba, laughing, and sat down next to Aito again. Yuka left, and Mariko returned. This was the whole family, though their mother wasn't there. We were all present. Everyone listened attentively to their grandfather's words. May the Hinagami family have good health, and may Hideout village flourish. The people here had always called their settlement Hideout village. It was said that they were the remnants of what was an autonomous area in the Meiji era, and the village was proud of its independence from the other settlements. Let's eat. In accordance with their father's words, they started sipping at their New Year's soba. No one spoke. The slurping of soba was the only noise in the living room. They'd already eaten dinner, and it was really only a ceremonial meal, so there wasn't very much soba. Karen was done eating in a flash. Yuka returned and cleaned up the newly empty steamer. Karen stood and helped her. That was her excuse anyway. She really just couldn't stand being in front of her strict grandfather any longer. She brought the silverware to the kitchen and found half-eaten soba on the table.
You eat your soba, Yuka-san. I'll clean up. Thank you.
Karen soaked the dishes in steamer in a basin full of water. The water was so cold it was practically frozen. She pulled her hands back and grabbed a towel.
Don't push yourself, young miss. I guess you're right.
She decided to follow Yuka's suggestion.
The year should be ending pretty soon.
After she finished eating her soba, Yuka washed the dishes.
I hear they ring temple bells 108 times in other places.
Buddhist temples in Japan ring their bells 108 times on midnight of New Year's Eve. To rid Japanese citizens of the 108 worldly desires in the Buddhist belief. Okay.
Well, there aren't any temples around here.
The only shrine in the settlement was the Shigusa shrine, and there weren't any temples. The Shigusa family had strong ties with the Hinami family, and there had simply been no opportunity for other religions to take root there. Which was why the settlement was dead silent on New Year's Eve. Snow flitted about outside the window. Karen, the new year is starting soon, so come back to the living room. You too, Yuka-san. Aito appeared in the kitchen.
Yes, right away.
Yuka wiped her hands dry.
No stealing food, Nisama.
Karen called out to Aito as he reached toward the osechi, but he'd already tossed a piece of red shogi into his mouth. Just a little is fine, right?
No, it's not fine. But anyway, how does that taste?
No, it's not okay. Anyways. Like chewy sour ginger? He didn't really know how to explain it. The clock on the wall rang. Its hands pointed upward. The new year began. Happy New Year. Their father was the first to bow his head to their grandfather. Happy New Year. Aito bowed his head next.
Happy New Year.
Karen, her grandmother, and Yuka bowed. That's all he needs to say. The grandfather gave a composed nod and stood. Everyone, be diligent again this year. Their grandfather left the living room. The remaining family members stayed prostrate during this time. Their grandmother followed him, and the sliding door closed behind her. Phew. Their father exhaled and raised his head. It's the same every year, but I always get nervous, even though he's my father. Chizuru grumbled, twisting his upper body with his hands on his hips.
Happy New Year to you too, Father.
Happy New Year. The two of them bowed their heads. Yeah, Happy New Year. Chizuru took 3 small paper bags out of the sleeve of his kimono. That's where he was hiding the souvenirs, I take it. It's not much, but take it.
Thank you.
Karen took the New Year's gift and expressed her thanks. We'll be counting on you again this year, Yuka.
Huh? Can I really accept this?
Yuka prostrated herself and accepted the bag. I know there aren't many places to spend money here.
I'll save it for the future, Father.
I guess I'll do that too. Well, should we go to bed?
Good night, Master.
Yuka saw Chizuru off. It was past 12. When she realized that, Karen suddenly felt sleepy.
I'm going to bed too. I look forward to another year, Nisama, Yuka-san.
Yeah, me too. And that year only brought tragedy.
Happy New Year, Nao-chan.
Naori stopped his sweeping after hearing Nanako's voice. I'm not sure what there is to be happy about lately, though. Isn't it a no consultation day? What are you doing here?
Doing my New Year's greetings, of course, and I figured I should be ready since there are a lot of accidents around this time of year.
Wonder if my grandpa will choke on some mochi. Why is that? Why is choking blue? Mochi is traditionally, on New Year's, can be dangerous for many elderly people in Japan who are prone to choking. Oh. Huh.
That's not the sort of thing you should joke about.
Nanako gave him a scolding look.
Hey Nao-chan, wanna go to the shrine later for the first visit of the year?
The shrine? Shigusa shrine?
Yeah, unless you don't want to.
It's not that. It was just that he went to that shrine all the time, and couldn't imagine receiving any particular divine favor there.
Then wait a little, okay? I'm going to go greet the director.
Nanako entered the clinic. Naori watched her go, then resumed his sweeping. There wasn't that much snow piled up from last night, but a distinct layer remained atop the trampled remnants of previous snowfalls. The amount of snow was the most dangerous. If the hardened snow froze, it was easier to slip on the snow on top of it, which was precisely why Naori was sweeping. Nanako's footprints dotted the road she'd come from. The path leading from the crossroads to the Shigusa shrine had even more footprints. Well, it's not like I've got anywhere else to be. The door to the clinic opened and Nanako emerged.
The director said to go greet the Hinigamis first.
My dad should be over there now.
Still, you should go, right?
Well, I guess. He could invite Aito and Karen while he was there.
He scolded me for not being dressed up.
I don't think you should worry about what he says. His mind was probably firmly in the gutter anyway. Yeah, he's probably right about that. They passed through the gate and walked to the Hinagami house.
Oh, Naori-san and Nanako-san.
They ran into Yuka, who was sweeping outside. Happy New Year, Yuka-san.
Yes, Happy New Year to you too. I hope we'll have another good year.
They all exchanged greetings, including Nanako.
Are you here to see Ayato-sama?
Well, before that, I've been asked to deliver a New Year's greeting. Is the old man around?
The Grand Master is at the shrine right now.
Oh, was it the Hinagami's turn this year? The head of the Hinagami family, Hideomi, and the chief priest of the Shigusa shrine, Yoshimitsu, had never gotten along very well and took every opportunity to argue over who was in the higher position. Naturally, they would argue about who should go to greet whom on New Year's. So Naori's grandfather So had gotten them to compromise by taking turns greeting each other. Their mutual respect for the settlement was probably the only thing that kept their rivalry from escalating. Then is Shizuru-san home?
Yes, he's here. Yuzuru-sama's here too.
Yuka led Naori and Nanako inside. They were led to the back room, where Shizuru and Yuzuru sat facing each other, a shogi board between them. Yeah, we know what shogi is. We don't need to read about that. Shizuru stared at the shogi board, fiddling with one of the pieces he'd captured in his hand. No waiting, Shizuru. Yuzuru, on the other hand, remained cool. I know, Shizuru muttered without lifting his head. What is it, Naori? Yuzuru noticed Naori and Nanako first. I came for New Year's greetings, but I probably shouldn't be interrupting you. Hey Shizuru, my son's come to greet you. Oh, it's you two. Shizuru finally raised his head. Happy New Year. I was sent by my grandfather to ask that we have another good year together. He bowed his head as he made his speech.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Shizuru took some New Year's money out of his pocket. You can't do much with it in these times, but take it. Shizuru, that's... Yuzuru tried to stop him. He's not a child, so I don't need to worry about him squandering it, right? Thank you. Not that there was anywhere around here to squander it. You too, Sawashiro-san.
Huh? Me too? I'm not really at that age anymore.
It's fine. Just take it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Nanako received a New Year's gift as well. Well, where were we? Shizuru turned back to the shogi board. Don't you dare fiddle with those pieces. I don't have to do that to beat you. Oh yeah? I'd like to see you try.
Excuse us then.
Naori decided to leave as things heated up between the brothers. When they returned to the living room, they found Ayato and Karen there. Oh, Nao-chan, Happy New Year. Let's have another good one. They exchanged greetings. We're going on a shrine visit after this. Want to come too, Rihito? Sure. What about everyone else? Well, it's not like there's anywhere else to go. They're probably there too, right? Naori said non-committally.
What are you going to do, Karen-chan? I'm going. I have to make a wish properly.
Alright, let's go. To the shrine we go. They climbed the stone steps, passed through the torii, and headed toward the shrine. You get nothing but curses this year. Curses for all of you. You didn't give us a human sacrifice so as to appease the god. The shrine didn't have any particular New Year's decorations, but many of the residents of the settlement were there, nonetheless.
Oh, it's Guriko and the young mistress.
Karen saw the two and called out to them.
Happy New Year, everyone!
Happy New Year.
I figured the young mistress would be in a kimono. Well, it's what I usually wear. You don't really get to dress up too often these days, but I really wanted to wear something fancy. Yes, even if we have cute clothes, there aren't many opportunities to wear them.
The two fashionistas complained together.
Wouldn't you agree, Rihito?
Huh? Me? Why would he have an opinion about that? Ayato asked as he was dragged into the conversation.
It would be better if we could wear cute clothes, right?
Yeah, probably. Ayato agreed ambiguously.
You're not really interested, are you?
Well, I mean, he's a guy. I don't know why he would be.
It's not that. I don't think, but... Don't you think it was a mistake to ask Rihito? But don't you want to know what he thinks?
Me? Not really. Damn.
Hey, Nao-chan.
Nanako whispered into Naori's ear. What is it?
Does Megure-chan like Ayato-kun?
I don't know. At the very least, he'd never heard her say so.
Well, I guess Nao-chan's a little dense too.
He didn't deny or refute her. That's her. I guess that's her woman's intuition. He was aware that he didn't pick up on subtleties very often.
I don't really mind our uniforms. Uniforms are cute too, you know, and you don't have to worry about what to wear in the morning. Sometimes I envy you guys. It certainly is easy.
The two who couldn't follow the girl's conversation were left behind. Shall we get going to the shrine?
I guess so.
They walked along the path to the shrine grounds. The shrine had been built so splendidly on level ground halfway up the mountain that it seemed beyond the settlement's means to have constructed. To the side was the shrine office where the Shigusa family lived. Oh, the officer is here. Aito looked over to the side of the shrine grounds.
He's talking to Saya-san.
Takayama, in his police uniform, was talking to Saya, the second daughter of the Shigusa family, who was dressed in her shrine maiden outfit.
Thank you for always taking the time to sweep the steps. Nah, it's only natural for someone in my position.
Takayama replied, standing at attention. This guy is such a simp. If Lady Saya demands it, I'll do anything. I've never seen the officer like that.
Well, he's in love. He can't help it.
Is he really? Aito tilted his head.
That's what I hear anyway.
And right when Naori thought that Aito was just as bad as he was at picking up on those subtle things.
Ah,
Aito exclaimed, looking toward the front of the shrine. Naori looked over in that direction. It was Satsuki. She may have just finished her visit to the shrine since Yoshimitsu, the chief priest, was escorting her back to the shrine office. Aito didn't move, probably because his grandfather Hideomi was lined up in front of the shrine.
Why don't you go say hi?
Naori gave Aito's back a push.
No, it's fine.
Aito shook his head. Greeting her for the new year couldn't hurt, right?
Yeah, but...
While Aito was hesitating, Satsuki and Yoshimitsu entered the shrine office.
It's too late now, so let's go visit the shrine.
Aito started walking off toward the front of the shrine.
What's up with Rihito?
The girls had finally caught up with them.
Who knows?
Maybe he has a wish he wants granted. Naori made something up.
A wish?
You looked up at the shrine.
So there's a god who grants wishes at this shrine.
The god worshipped at the Shigusa shrine was a folk god called Hinasama, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't grant just anyone's wish.
Oh, I've heard of that. It only blesses the Hinagami family, right? Is that so?
Not technically.
Oh, Kensei-san, Happy New Year.
Naori greeted Kensei, the senior priest.
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone.
Kensei bowed his head.
As for what you were saying, Hinasama doesn't just give its blessings to the Hinagami family. Can other people receive these blessings too?
I'm sure you'll receive the god's blessing if you pray here. I can't guarantee anything more than any other shrine, of course. Kensei laughed. Was it really okay for him to be so blunt? If prosperity is guaranteed to the Hinagami family, it's guaranteed to the rest of the village too, after all.
That's certainly held true so far, I suppose.
Nanako agreed.
And the only ones who can worship Hinasama are the members of the Hinagami family. Our sole role is to help them. Is Hinasama what's enshrined in our household shrine?
Karen asked.
Yes, that's right. Enshrined here is the ancestral god of the Shigusa and Hinagami families. And that patron god gave birth to Hinasama. This is sort of over my head,
Megure complained.
There's no need to think so hard about it. Just consider it the guardian deity of the village.
Kensei left, laughing. So is it like Oyashiro-sama? I am getting very bad vibes from this. I'm seriously getting flashbacks to Higurashi. This seems like if I could guess as to where this might be leading, I'm sure that the murders that are going to happen in this game are because of their god Hinasama, because they need to appease Hinasama or something like that. But they also call Hinasama a vengeful god, right? Oh, there we go. There we go. You murmured, probably unable to say so in front of Kensei. What are you guys talking about? Ayato had returned. Nothing much. Did you make your wish? Not yet. I was waiting for you guys. Well, let's all go make shrine visits then. They all lined up in front of the offertory box that wasn't usually left out. How much are you supposed to offer? I think 5 cents should be fine. Ayato took out a nickel coin with a hole in it. You're not gonna put a yen in? I didn't read that, but I'm guessing sen must be less than yen. That would be my New Year's gift. Oh, you got New Year's money? Must be nice. It's money we'll never be able to spend, though. If you live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, there's not really anything you can spend it on. Karen took out a yellow 10-cent coin and tossed it into the offertory box. Everyone made their offerings, clapping their hands together and worshipping. Naori offered a little prayer as well. As for a wish, he hadn't really thought of one. Want to get fortunes? Omikuji are fortunes on strips of paper available. Oh, so it's kind of like the fortunes you get from fortune cookies. The eldest, Nanako, suggested. Oh, that sounds good. Karen immediately walked off to the fortune stand next to the shrine office. I've never gotten a good fortune. When you get a bad one, you should tie it to a tree and forget about it. They followed Karen across the grounds. Happy New Year, everyone. Kensei's wife, Mia, greeted them at the fortune stand. Happy New Year. Can we draw some fortunes? Yes, go ahead. Karen hurriedly grabbed the cylinder with the sticks in it and tipped it over. 13. She's checked the numbers on the drawers. I've got 29. 7 is here. They all started reading the slips they'd pulled from the drawers. Future luck, eh? What'd you get, Ohina? Middle luck. It's okay, but... What is it? Well, it's my love fortune. Let's see here. Accept your fate. Whoa, that's it? Well, it's not like you've got anyone to lose, so it's nothing to worry about, is it? Damn. She's just like roasting people. The person you're waiting for isn't close, it says. Maybe that means you can expect something in the future. Do you think it means like someone who's close but far? I'm not sure about that. Ayato was at a loss for words. What is it? Naori looked over at Ayato's hand. Whoa. But what does it say? The top of the slip had terrible luck written clearly on it. Oof. First time I've seen that. First time I've pulled it. Every individual fortune was filled with negative sounding words as well. Oh, but it says good things about love. It doesn't help if that's the only part that's good. What's it say? Meguri peered over too. It says you'll have a fated meeting. I guess the important part's whether you've already had that meeting or not. I don't care about that. Well, I can confirm that's probably the only good thing that's going to happen to Hayato in this game. I won't say anything else though. After muttering that, Hayato went to tie his fortune up. Is he embarrassed? Beats me. Meguri and Karen chased after Ayato. What about you, Nao-chan? I got luck. I got little luck. All the stuff written on it is pretty safe too. What about you, Nanako? Great luck. I wonder if something good will happen this year. It'd be good if Grandpa stopped touching your butt. I might not want to use up all my luck on that. Yeah, it'd be good if the sexual harassment could stop. Nanako went back to the Kuria clinic from there, and now returned to the Hinami mansion with Ayato and Karen. Looks like my dad's still here, Naori said after seeing the shoes at the entrance. They couldn't still be playing shogi, could they? Couldn't be. It's been way too long. Maybe they're drinking together. Right. Naori's prediction was too naive. So they really are still playing shogi. His father and uncle were glaring at the shogi board. The pieces on the board had been reduced to quite a small quantity. So, yeah, at first I thought that Naori and Ayato were like friends, but I guess they're technically cousins, right? Since that's his brother. That might have been why they were having trouble attacking. Who's in the lead? He asked Ayato quietly.
My dad, I think. He has all the rooks and bishops.
Shizuru moved the silver general diagonally behind the king.
Check. You don't need to tell me. I know.
Yuzuru placed his fingers on the gold general directly in front of the silver and stopped moving. Naori only knew how the pieces moved. He knew nothing about the strategy of the game.
Can he not take the silver one? Not with that rook there. If he takes it with his king, the bishop will be waiting for him.
Would you shut up? Yuzuru glared at them. Don't pick on the spectators now. Shizuru's composed expression didn't change. Yuzuru had his king flee in the opposite direction of the silver general, diagonally forward. Shizuru's rook took his gold general and was promoted. He wasn't in check. That was naive, Shizuru. Yuzuru moved the knight on the board and took a pawn in front of Shizuru's king, promoting the knight. That's check. Shut up. Even if he took the promoted knight, there was a lance waiting behind it in reserve. Shizuru took his own knight, stepped over his king, and took the promoted knight. Yuzuru placed a pawn in front of the knight. Shizuru moved into check with his knight. The king escaped to the front of the knight.
Wonder when this'll be over.
He thought he'd take his dad home on the way, but that was turning out to be more trouble than it was worth.
Probably pretty soon. Look.
Aito pointed at the board. Shizuru's promoted rook took a pawn and advanced diagonally below the king. The promoted rook was blocking the path of his knight. There was a pawn remaining behind the knight, and a lance, still in its starting position, was aimed at the promoted rook across from it. Checkmate.
Shit!
Yuzuru fell back onto the floor.
I had you pushed back pretty far, though.
Your initial carelessness was your fatal mistake. Shizuru erupted into a broad grin. Well, you've gotten a lot better, right?
Shut it.
Yuzuru cursed.
Let's go home, Dad.
Naori urged Yuzuru since they'd finally reached a conclusion.
You want to start really learning shogi, Naori?
No thanks. Yep, Japanese chess. Fun times. Satsuki sat on a cushion in the place of honor of the wood-floored room. The leaders of the village sat before her, but they did not face Satsuki. They faced each other.
Hinagami, what happened to your greetings?
Chief Priest Yoshimitsu rushed Hinagami Hideomi, who sat across from him.
I wish you all the best for this year to come.
Hideomi's voice was bitter. Satsuki didn't know much about Hideomi, but she could tell right away that these two didn't get along well.
Let us dispense with the formalities.
Yoshimitsu's wife, Ryoko, got in between the two of them. Come on, you two.
I know.
When Hideomi's wife, Mariko, intervened, he nodded. Their wives were sisters, so Hideomi and Yoshimitsu should have been brothers-in-law, but the only time they saw each other was during holiday greetings like this. It was painful for Satsuki to sit silently at the place of honor in situations like this. She could neither speak nor break her rigid posture. All she could do was sit. Ryoko brought a bottle of sake. Here you are. Mariko handed the two of them square sake cups.
I hate you. I know, I hate you too.
They both snorted as sake was poured into their cups. They started drinking the sake without bringing their cups together. Satsuki wished she could flee.
Will the Miko be dancing for this year's festival?
Hideomi's gaze turned towards Satsuki.
That's the plan. How many years has it been?
Hideomi tipped his cup and drank.
It's the first time since the Showa era began. It's been that long, has it?
Satsuki knew nothing about the past.
Here you are.
Ryoko poured sake into his empty cup.
We must prepare as well, then.
I'll leave that to you. This sounds kind of ominous. Like, maybe it's not, but it sounds ominous. The two drank cup after cup. Having no idea what was going on, all Satsuki could do was remain stiffly silent. Something bad's happening, I'm sure. You here, Naori? Naori's father, Yuzuru, peered into his room.
What is it, Dad?
Naori put a bookmark into the foreign classic he had been reading. Those relatives of ours should be getting here soon, so could you go pick them up?
Oh, was that today?
He set his book down and rose from his chair. Should I just wait in my hina? They should be arriving by taxi. Got it. He headed outside, a scarf around his neck. With this weather, it would take too long to drive up the mountain by car. It would still be about half a day from Toyama City, of course. If they were arriving now, just past noon, they must have left first thing in the morning. Maybe they took an overnight train from Tokyo, or they arrived yesterday and stayed the night. He didn't know for sure. In fact, he didn't even know what sort of people were coming. His only clue was what his grandfather had said about them being sibling children of a relative. Of course, outsiders hardly ever visited the village, so he was sure he'd know them when he saw them. He walked down the road that ran north and south through the center of the village and came to the branch office in Mahina. It was necessary to climb several ridges to get to the center of the village. That was why there was a branch office for the village administration. Of course, administration facilities were rarely ever used, so the number of staff could be counted on one hand. One of those staff members was an old man named Kuki Saizo, who stood in front of the branch office shoveling snow.
Oh, if it isn't the young Kuria.
Hello. Naori bowed his head to Saizo, who had stopped his shoveling to greet him.
Are our visitors here yet?
Visitors? No one's come today. The road's completely clean.
There weren't any tire tracks on the road. No one in the settlement owned a vehicle. The only exception was the car Hinami Shizuru used to commute to and from Toyama. That was why most of the roads in the village weren't built for cars, and the taxis and such that came from the foot of the mountain had to turn back in Mahina.
Want to wait inside? Least I can do is make you some tea.
No, I won't bother you, he politely declined. Frankly, he wouldn't know what to say having tea with an old man. He'd rather wait out here with a book. He brushed the snow off the bench at the bus stop and sat down, taking out a paperback, when he heard the sound of an engine in the distance. I guess he was about to show up. When he raised his head, he saw a black sedan coming toward him on the road between the mountains. It must have been them. He put his book away and got ready to greet them. While he was doing so, the car approached, and he could distinguish the fact that it was a taxi. It stopped in front of the branch office, billowing black smoke. A boy with glasses about Naori's age emerged from the back seat.
Are you Kuruya-san?
He asked when Naori walked up to him. Yes, I'm Kuruya Naori. And you are?
I'll be in your care. I'm Kuchiki Fumiya from Tokyo, and this is...
The boy named Fumiya took the hand of a girl who stepped out of the car after him.
My name is Kuchiki Chizuru. I'll be in your care for a little while.
I'm Kuruya Naori. Nice to meet you. They all greeted each other. I'm sorry, but cars can't go any further than this, so it's on foot from here.
Yes, we heard as much from the driver.
Fumiya lifted a large bag.
Oh, want me to carry that?
It was probably hard for a city kid to carry a huge bag over a snow-covered road. Not to mention, the two of them were here to recover from an illness.
Sorry. Please do.
Fumiya meekly handed over the bag. Naori picked it up. It was quite heavy.
Alright, please follow me. Right, let's go, Chizuru. Yes.
The girl was scrawny. She walked nestled close to her brother Fumiya, perhaps because she was cold. Or maybe something more than that. Naori wondered if Fumiya was here to accompany his sister while she recovered.
How long do you plan on staying here?
The plan was to stay until spring. Of course, we may need to stay a little longer depending on the situation in Tokyo.
Isn't all that war with the West really that close?
I'm still a student, so I'm not sure, but the war in China is dragging on pretty long, so... We can't buy enough rice anymore either.
Well, there's no need to worry about that out here.
He pointed out some landmarks as they walked back to his house.
Huh?
So your house is a hospital too, Kuchiki-san?
Fumiya's fine, and our house is more like a military research facility than a hospital. That's why it got difficult to hospitalize Chizuru there.
I see.
Nodding, Naori opened his front door.
Come on in. You must be tired, so get yourself some rest.
Thank you. Please excuse us.
He led them to the guest room.
Phew.
Tired from walking all this way, Fumiya sighed and sat down.
We'd like to greet everyone.
If you mean my father and grandfather, they're in the clinic, so I'll go get them.
No, it's only proper that we go to them. Let's go, Nissan.
Yeah, you're right. Well, there's nothing in this village, but have a nice relaxing stay, you two.
Thank you very much, grandfather.
We'll be in your care for a little while.
The two greeted their grandfather, so.
If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. If it's a feminine matter, go ahead and ask Sawashiro-kun. Nice to meet you. Yes, it's very nice to meet you.
The most important thing for recuperation is your frame of mind. Well, unless you're me, in which case it's Nanako-kun.
Let's go. I'll give you a tour of the house.
Nanako ignored So's remark.
Grandpa, could you stop making passes at Nanako already? What is it, Naori? Are you jealous?
Oh yeah, real jealous.
Jesus Christ.
Sexual harassment.